The differences between Audi Quattro and BMW xDrive. When it comes to all-wheel drive systems for road cars, the Germans and Japanese have been at the top of the tree for decades. Audi and BMW have swiftly risen to the top of this particular sector, and with xDrive BMWs now outselling Quattro-equipped Audis in the UK, it seems that the tide has turned in favour of the Munich-based car maker. So, what are the differences between Quattro and xDrive, and which is best? Quattro. Audi has been a force to be reckoned with in the world of all-wheel drive for over 30 years, and the art of powering all four wheels was truly commercialized with the coveted Audi Quattro of the early 1980s. Quattro has evolved since then and now features in many models in the Audi range. It forms a balanced all-wheel drive system with a 50-50 split between the two axles in normal driving conditions. That orientation switches more to a rear bias in S and RS variants, and uses a central torque sensing differential that's built within the gearbox. These Quattro systems are mounted longitudinally in line with the gearbox and engine of the car, while transverse engine models like the A3 and TT cannot fit the same Quattro system under the bonnet. The smaller engine cars instead use a Haldex four-wheel drive system, which is generally front-wheel drive until the rear wheels are required for added traction. The torsion diff of longitudinally mounted engine cars transfers torque between the two axles in a solely mechanical form, along with stability control, allowing each wheel to spin at different rates depending on the slippage conditions at each corner. When a wheel slips on one of the axles, the center differential is locked and torque is transferred from the axle that slips to the other axle that has traction. As soon as the wheel slip is eliminated, the diff unlocks and normal torque bias is resumed. xDrive. BMW has played catch up with Audi, but some would say that the Bavarian all-wheel drive system more than matches the rally-derived might of Quattro. The first BMW to drive all four wheels was the E30 325iX Allrad from 1985, but now the company's own all-wheel drive system can be found in everything from the 1 Series to the 7 Series. xDrive uses a multi-plate clutch system instead of a viscous coupling as used in many other generic all-wheel drive cars. Output is electronically controlled using the clutch system to vary torque to the axles every 0.1 seconds, with the capability to send 100% of torque to one axle. Dynamic stability control is combined with an xDrive system to enhance the on-road capabilities by braking the inside wheels and cutting power across the axles to enhance rotation of the car. Predictably, xDrive is a rear bias system, as chosen by BMW, and a 40-60 split from front to rear. Although this may seem detrimental to all-wheel drive performance as less torque is being applied in the location of the heavy engine for traction, the firm has kept to its dogma and decided that its all-wheel drive cars still need to feel and act like true rear bias BMWs on the road. So which system is better? The purely mechanical nature of Quattro all-wheel drive makes it a relatively simple system, but one that has worked incredibly for Audi ever since it tore up the 80s rally scene. The locking differentials can hinder a Quattro car in very specific situations, however, because Quattro in its basic form cannot fully lock an axle like the BMW can, with some torque reaching both axles at all times. The mechanical nature of the torsion differential means that if zero traction is found on an axle, it has zero resistance to send to the other side of the vehicle. The center diff is essentially a torque multiplying device, so if complete traction is lost at an axle, things can get very tricky for Quattro. But overall, it's an extremely capable all-wheel drive system that has proven itself time after time in conquering the toughest of real-world road conditions. xDrive has its merits and could be classed as the more refined system, using the electrical response as a much quicker method than a hydraulic viscous coupling. The electronically actuated clutch allows for full torque to be sent to one axle, which gives the BMW an advantage when transitioning from a high traction surface to a low traction surface or vice versa. The electronic aspect of xDrive does make for some unwanted intervention, however, when compared to Audi's mechanical system. The rear bias means that the electronics will always veer towards safety, so the Audi should in theory be superior when trying to make brisk progress down a snowy or icy road. Audi has recently started the shift to electronics via its Ultra Quattro range, which uses an actuated clutch much like BMW. So you could say that Ingolstadt has conceded to Munich's way of thinking. Seen first in the 2016 A4 all-road estate, it seems that Audi may have analysed the success of the Haldex system and decided that it's time for the torsion diff to be consigned to the history books. In conclusion then, both Quattro and xDrive systems have their own merits, but if rear-wheel drive is more your cup of tea, and if you're not having to drive fast down snow-covered roads anytime soon, then the xDrive system probably takes the win on this occasion.